Good evening, everybody. Good evening. It is such a pleasure to see all of you here. I'm Claudia Petrescu. I'm the Dean of the Graduate School, and it is my great pleasure to welcome you to one of the coolest, best events of this semester. Right? All the thumbs up. So welcome to those who are here in the building, and as well as to those who are online. It is for the first time that also we have an online audience. And I would like to start just with a little tiny introduction of the voice of the 3MT. Wow. But also to give you some fun facts. So this is the 10th year of the 3MT competition at K-State University. 10. I feel we are going to the double digits now. We are growing up. Surprisingly, in 10 years of having the 3MT competition, this is the first time that we had to reschedule it from last week to this week. But we know that we had to reschedule it on purpose, because otherwise you would have not been here. You would have been frozen. So thank you for making it. We overcame challenges, and we are here to celebrate some of the bravest students, the smartest students that we have, who are going to showcase us the power of research and graduate education at K-State. I would like to recognize family members. Do we have family members in the audience? I think we do. They are getting shy. We know it takes a village to raise a 3MT student. So thank you. Many of you are also attending the 3MT competition for the first time. The first timers? Wow. Okay, thank you so much for being here. So with that, I would also like to introduce the voice of the 3MT competition, Dave, the voice. I agree with the noise. He is a long-time radio personality, inducted into the Kansas Broadcaster Hall of Fame, a well-known community member. At almost every event, there is Dave Lewis, the voice. Has the nicest, strongest, best voice ever. Of course, because he has practiced it at K-State football and men's basketball games. So he's practiced. Thank you for the practice. And with that, the voice of the competition, Dave Lewis. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm the guy that says, "Are you ready?" We've had this 10 years now. I have been a part of every one except for that COVID silliness that we had. But this is always a lot of fun. It also is quite unnerving for me, because I always find that I am the one that is least educated and least smart in this entire room. But thank you for having me anyway. I'm just here for my good looks. You weren't supposed to laugh at that. So we have a very special evening in store for you tonight. The 3-minute thesis, or 3MT as we call it, is not your average research presentation event, nor is it an ordinary competition. The competition challenges graduate students to present to a non-expert audience and MC a compelling oration on their graduate research topic and its significance in no more than 3 minutes, using just one slide that you will see on this screen over here. The 3MT develops graduate students' presentation and communication skills, and it celebrates their research discoveries. 69 K-State master's and doctoral students participated in the first round of competition on February 7th, when it wasn't snowing 18 inches. 11 were selected to participate in today's final competition. So please, before we get to the big introduction for them, you got your cell phones with you? Silence them. We're also excited to welcome our online audience that are streaming tonight. We're excited about that. So, we're going to bring up our starting lineup. So, K-State fans, are you ready? She's a master's student in agronomy, Sabrina Perret. She's a PhD student in economics. Make some noise for Sydney Weber. A PhD student in horticulture and natural resources, Vikas Kumar Galipothu. Our fourth contestant is a PhD student in kinesiology, Justin Montney. She's a PhD student in biological and agricultural engineering, Shabangi Arveli. He's a PhD student in grain science, Shiva Prasad. A PhD student in sociology, Jacob Miller Klugessers. Here's a master's student in entomology, Joshua Jackson. She's a master's student in agronomy, Muazzama Mushtaq. Here's a PhD student in kinesiology, Ashley Baranchuk. And our final entrant is a master's student in horticultural natural resources, Sagar Pokrail. How about a nice round of applause for all? We'll wait for you to come up here. We got 11 of the brightest minds at K-State. Welcome them. Wish them well. Now you can go back and finish your fruit tray. Well, we got a lot of bright minds, not only that will be up here on this stage, but also in the two banquet tables in front of me. These are our judges, and they're an important group of people here tonight, and we'd like to introduce them to you at this point. He's the Interim Vice President for Research and University Distinguished Professor, Dr. Hans Kotzia. She's a Senior Associate Vice President for Research and Professor of Biology and loves everything cats, including K-State cats and four-legged cats, Dr. Beth Montalone. This dude's a Manhattanite, and I've known him forever. He is the president of the Kansas State Alumni Association and CEO, Dr. Adam Walker. She's an assistant professor of management. We'll hear from her a little bit later on. Please welcome Dr. Rachel Mui. Our next judge is a doctoral student in agronomy and the 2024 3MT first place winner, Indy Lopez Kaler. And our final judge is a doctoral student in biology and student representative of K-State's Chapter Sigma Xi, Jack Sitzma. God, I hope I pronounce everybody's names right. The judging panel will evaluate presentations on two different categories: comprehension and content. Did the presenter provide a clear overview of their research? And engagement and communication. Did the presenter communicate their work in a way that can be understood by a non-expert audience? Did they capture the audience's attention, and did they show excitement for their work? In addition to these criteria, presenters who exceed the time limit may be disqualified. So what's at stake tonight? Judges' scores will determine a first and second place winner. The first place presenter will receive a $500 scholarship and represent Kansas State University at the Midwestern Association of Graduate Schools 3MT competition in April. The second place winner will be awarded a $250 scholarship. New this year, K-State Center for the Advancement of Entrepreneurship is sponsoring a $500 award for the presentation of research that brings the best potential for commercialization. And finally, audience members, you, yes, you have an important job tonight. You will select the People's Choice Award winner. For those of you that are online, you don't get to choose them. I know you'll want to, but don't text anybody else that's here because it won't make any difference. The People's Choice Award winner will receive a $125 scholarship, and we'll share more information about the voting process after the presentation. So, the 3-minute thesis competition is about to get started. Are you ready? Our first presenter is from India, a master's student in agronomy. His research focuses on pearl millet. Her research focuses on pearl millet, which you will hear about shortly. She loves exploring nature, and hiking is her favorite escape. When she's not out on a trail, you probably find her playing cricket or badminton in Manhattan. It's done. She's always up for a good game, and in the evening, she likes to slow things down, sipping a warm cup of tea and listening to soulful music. Would you please welcome Sabrina Perret?
Good luck. Thank you. We all are familiar with the term drought. It's no longer just a temporary challenge, but a growing crisis. Today, over 33% of the US land is experiencing low to extreme drought, threatening the backbone of our economy, agriculture. In 2012, the drought, which extended from the US Corn Belt to the West Coast, resulted in an agricultural loss of over $30 billion. The Ugalala aquifer, which is the lifeline for our irrigation, is also depleting, thus further worsening the situation. So under these conditions, what can our farmers do to remain profitable and productive? Well, the Kansas Water Plan of 2022 provides an answer: adoption of alternative crops. And my research identifies pearlnet as a strong candidate for this transformation. But why pearlnet? Because it's built for survival. This climate-resilient crop grows in drought-prone areas and has a short life cycle, which makes it a good fit in the Kansas farming system. It's free from prussic acid, which means it's a safe forage for livestock. But that's not all. Talking about the grain qualities of pearlnet, it's packed with high iron, zinc, protein, and starch content. And best of all, it's gluten-free, which makes it a good option for people with gluten allergies. With all these qualities, pearlnet can be a game changer: a cover crop, a forage for livestock, a poultry feed, as well as a nutritious food for humans. But here is the catch. Very limited research has been done on its forage potential. That's where my research comes in. We evaluated 188 pearlnet lines for drought tolerance under irrigated and rain-fed conditions in western Kansas. The results were clear. The plants in the rain-fed trial were short with reduced biomass and greenness as compared to the irrigated condition. But here is the exciting news. We identified 15 drought-tolerant lines which will now be used to produce the forage hybrids for Kansas farmers. Even more exciting, studies show that adoption of drought-tolerant crops like pearlnet can reduce the crop water demand in Kansas by 12%, which is a huge number. By improving the drought tolerance in pearlnet, we are paving the way for a water-efficient future. With the right choice and with the right research, we ensure that our farmers stay productive, our livestock stay safe, and our agriculture remains sustainable for the generations to come. Thank you.
There is a lull for a few moments while the judges make their comments on their sheets of paper. Please be patient for them to do so because their work here tonight is extremely important. they're still writing notes. Some of them are. Sabrina, very nice job. Thank you for being here tonight and participating in this. A little history on 3MT, how it was started and why it is so important. Now, graduate students, I'm finding out, are really pretty smart. On average, their thesis or dissertation is 80,000 words long, which would take several hours to present. And we don't have that much time tonight, and most of us don't have the expertise that these students have to understand the details of their work. The 3MT helps graduate students develop skills to share the big picture and the value of their work outside of their field of study. These students now have an elevator pitch ready to easily share their work with anyone who asks, "Hey, what do you do?" These communication skills will make the students more competitive on the job market and for research during funding opportunities. Our next presenter is a PhD student in economics, originally from Springfield, Missouri. When asked at just 8 years old to imagine a future where she was president, she envisioned a crashing stock market, an angry population, and immense personal stress. That never happens. So naturally, she became an economist. So today, she navigates life much like she approaches her research, ensuring balance, structure, and stability, all made better with 3 hot meals a day and a bit of exercise. Would you please welcome presenter number 2, Sydney Weber. Good luck.
Thank you. I want you to take a second and think about the things you have with you right now. Your clothes, phone, maybe a bag. My guess is that these things were made in another country and sold in the United States. These are called imports, and they're often charged a special tax called a tariff. Just this month, the United States has raised tariffs on all goods from China and all steel and aluminum by 10 to 25 percentage points. So what do we know about tariffs, and how do they affect our daily lives? In 2023, Americans bought over $3 trillion worth of goods from other countries. Taxing these imports with tariffs can be popular for a couple of reasons. Tariffs are a source of revenue for the government, and they protect American businesses from foreign competition. However, they do so by raising prices for consumers, and researchers find that tariffs raise the prices of goods that they affect, everyday goods like food, clothing, and household items. So, my research asks the question, what are some other unanticipated consequences of tariffs? And I look at how other countries respond to them. Starting in 2018, the United States raised tariffs on over $300 billion worth of goods, mostly from China. As expected, prices rose for the affected products. But remember, other countries buy goods from American businesses too. So to retaliate against the American tariffs, China and other countries raised their tariffs on American goods to hurt American businesses. This is called a trade war. But China had another interesting response during this time. While it raised its tariffs on the United States, it actually lowered its tariffs for other countries. My research asks, how did China lowering its tariffs on other countries affect the United States? Using data from the United Nations, I compare trade before and after the trade war began, paying close attention to when China lowered its tariffs on other countries. Here's what's interesting. I find, as China lowered its tariffs for the rest of the world, the United States imported less from these countries. This is even after accounting for the United States' own tariffs. This means that Chinese actions had an unanticipated effect on American trade. My results are important because they shed light on the unintended consequences of tariffs. And as the United States continues to increase tariffs on the rest of the world, my work informs policymakers that the tariffs they apply should be considered with great care. Thank you.
Maybe you're like me and you learn more about terrorists in 3 minutes than you have in the last 30 days watching the news. Sydney, thank you. Nice work. We'd like to recognize last year's winners and take a look back at last year's winners. On the slide, you can read a quote from each about the impact of their 3MT experience. Introduced earlier tonight, and she's on the judging panel, the current holder of K-State's 3MT title is Indy Lopez-Kaler. Indy was also a finalist in the regional 3MT competition hosted by the Midwestern Association of Graduate Schools. In second place last year was Kylie Jennings, who graduated with her master's in regional and community planning. And last year's People's Choice winner was Siza Asuncion Peterson, a doctoral student in biological and agricultural engineering. And she's one of our photographers tonight, back over there, dressed in black, waving and looking for her next victim for paparazzi. Our next presenter is a PhD student in horticulture and natural resources. Originally from India, he is the middle child, always looking up to his older brother and looking out for his younger sister. As the first in his family to pursue a PhD, he is determined to make his parents proud and honor their hard work. He loves exploring new places, trying different foods, and dreams of traveling the world with his family one day. Would you please welcome Vikas Kumar Galapatho.
Imagine this. You just went to a grocery store, picked up a cantaloupe, thinking healthy and nutritious. Just think this. The same cantaloupe, instead of nourishing your body, could be the reason of your illness. In severe cases, that leads to death. Let me take you back to 2011.
Vikas, we're going to get you to start over because your mic's not on. Is that all right? There's a little pack here that's in your pocket. Hey, I fixed it.
Thank you.
And I didn't need your help. Okay.
Am I audible? Yeah.
Give a round of applause for his baby.
Imagine this. You just went to a grocery store, picked up a cantaloupe, thinking healthy and nutritious. Just think this. The same cantaloupe, instead of nourishing your body, could be the reason of your illness. In severe cases, that can lead to death. Let me take you back to 2011, when this horrifying scenario became reality. People all over the US enjoyed their favorite cantaloupe, but unaware of that, were contaminated with listeria, a bacterium that caused the disease listeriosis. Result, 33 lives were lost. This report raises a critical question. How safe is the food we consume, especially fresh produce? Center for Disease Control reports that listeria is the leading cause of foodborne illness in the US with 20 to 25% death rate. The major contributor of this illness is the Listeria biofilm. Biofilm is a protective layer that shields a microorganism, making them resistant to the antimicrobial treatments. The food contact surfaces, especially in fresh produce industry, provide favorable condition for these biofilm to persist from days to years. Center for Disease Control reports that listeria is the leading cause of foodborne illness in the US with 25%, 20 to 25% death rate. To address this issue, we designed a unique disinfection tunnel combining UV light and sanitizer spray system. UV light deforms the DNA while the sanitizer disturbs the cytoplasm. Combination of both breaks the biofilm structure and kills the bacteria inside of it. Till now, we treated 3 food contact surfaces which are commonly used in the fresh produce industry. Those are reusable plastic container, stainless steel, and high-density polyethylene, and achieved 99.9% reduction. I further plan to take this disinfection tunnel to the various organic farms around the Midwest, Georgia, Arizona, and Florida, and try on their food contact surfaces to know the efficacy of the tunnel at various organic producing environments. Traditionally, these sanitizers have been used, but they are not effective. We are combining the UV light and sanitizer spray system, which will be the effective. So what's the impact? I'm sure and confident that this approach will effectively control the listeria and prevent the future-borne outbreaks. This solution helped the farmers around the Midwest and Georgia, Arizona, and Florida farmers to improve their food safety standards by maintaining the organic compliance. Food safety is paramount. Through advancement in sanitation strategies, we can strive to make food supply safer for all. Wouldn't it be great if we could just trust the food we eat? Yes, you can, only after disinfection. Thank you.
Stick with it. Good job. Pretty cool how he was able to continue after a mic drop moment. That's good work there. We didn't mention this in his introduction, but Vikas is studying at K-State's Olathe campus. The Olathe campus offers 5 master's programs, 1 doctoral program, and 6 graduate certificates. 5 graduate students from the Olathe campus participated in the first round of 3MT competition earlier this month. And tonight there are not 1, but 2 Olathe campus students competing. The 2 students tonight and the previous finalists from Olathe were all mentored by Dr. Manrit Bular. So kudos to Dr. Bular for engaging so many graduate students in this very important experience. Is he here? Did I say your name even remotely close? Okay, good job there, good. Our next presenter is Justin Montney. He's a PhD student in kinesiology, originally from Topeka. Justin's a 3-time Goolsby's Trivia League champion. He teaches a disc golf class and gives private lessons. He enjoys running and has run a marathon and competed in track and cross country at Fort Hays State. Fun fact about Justin is he worked as the pit camera operator for Jefferson Starship at the 2015 Wild West Fest. I've been to one of those. They're wild. They're wild. As a former Big Brothers Big Sisters mentor, Justin's goal is to help his hometown reduce obesity and heart disease through his research. Would you please welcome Justin Montney? Should have a green light.
Test. Great.
Look at that.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
Okay. What if I told you there's something that could help you feel stronger, live longer, and even prevent a heart attack? Would you do it? Now, a quick show of hands. How many of you already knew that exercise is good for you? Let's keep those hands up. Don't put them down. Exercise. Unfortunately, this vast showing of hands mismatches the only 20% of Americans that are meeting the physical activity guidelines displayed before you in box number 1. Those of you with your hands up, how many of you feel like you're still meeting those guidelines? Some good, but I'm definitely seeing some hands go down. As you might have noticed, exercise doesn't have an awareness issue, it has an adherence issue. Unfortunately, many people try to find the benefits of exercise, but fail to change their long-term exercise behavior. This adherence issue was especially heartbreaking when I was working with cardiac rehab patients. This is because the cardiac rehab patients, if they didn't change their long-term exercise behavior, would drastically increase their likelihood for a recurring heart attack. It reminds me of one of my patients. His name was Tim. Now, Tim was in his 60s. And he's really excited to start his new exercise program after he completed cardiac rehab. His main plan was to leash up his dog and take him on a walk around his neighborhood every day. But unfortunately, life got in the way, and Tim ended up skipping one day. But then that turned into a week, and then a month, and then 6 months later, Tim found himself back in the hospital, a reoccurring heart attack. And sadly, Tim's story isn't unique. Many patients feel like even after graduating cardiac rehab, they lack the skills necessary in order to change their long-term physical activity behavior. On top of that, practitioners feel like they lack the training, tools, and recommendations necessary to change their patients' long-term exercise behavior. This illustrates, in Figure 2, a gap in the exercise education for cardiac rehabs. Thankfully, my research aims to bridge this gap with a program I've developed called the Cardiac Commitment Course, or C3. By creating and implementing staff trainings, exercise behavior worksheets, and exercise education tracking, staff feel more confident prescribing physical activity, and their patients feel more able to exercise autonomously even after they complete rehab. Together, let's redefine rehab. Let's give patients like Tim the tools that they need to not only survive, but to thrive. Thank you.
Justin, you would have to bring up that exercise word. Nice work. For whatever it's worth, I had a heart attack a couple years ago. I've been pretty lucky, but it takes a lot of work. A lot of good doctors. Keep that up. There's another important group of people here tonight that we'd like to recognize, and that is the faculty mentors of the presenters. Tonight's event is a fantastic showcase of graduate student research. We're being treated to outstanding presentations, and that's due to the hard work and dedication of these students, but also to the strong mentoring that they receive from K-State graduate faculty. Earlier, we acknowledged one of those faculty members, Dr. Bular, and we'd like to take a moment to recognize all the faculty mentors that are here for tonight's finalists. And so if any of you are faculty members in the audience, would you please stand so that we can applaud you and shower you with love and adoration. Our next presenter is a PhD student in biological and agricultural engineering from India. She has a big goal of visiting all the national parks and an ultimate dream of settling in Hawaii. A true foodie at heart, she's a huge fan of pistachio gelato. It's by far her favorite dessert. When she's not studying, she finds joy in painting and baking, using them as a creative way to unwind. And with a deep love for plants, she dreams of having a big garden filled with fresh produce one day. Would you please welcome Shubhangi Arveli.
Thank you. Mic check. Okay. Have you ever wondered what happened to the food you throw away in trash? The leftover veggies, fries you didn't finish? Now, imagine the same situation in every household, every grocery store, and every restaurant in the world. Every year, we throw about 1.6 billion tons of food waste. This is enough to feed 690 million hungry people. But instead, these end up in landfill, creating harmful greenhouse gases such as methane and carbon dioxide. These gases trap solar energy, raise the global temperature, and disrupt our environment. Not good at all. But What if I tell you this waste could become a resource instead of burden to our planet? And that's what exactly my research is about, turning this trash into treasure. In my research, I use food waste from Kansas State University Dining Center and use it to feed special microorganisms. The beauty is these microbes, when given right temperature, pH, and oxygen, ferment this food waste into a compound called astaxanthin. This compound is high value. It is also called as super antioxidant because it's 6,000 times more potent than vitamin C. It is used in skincare, supplements, as well as in salmon feed that gives it distinct orange color. But wait, there is more. After extracting this astaxanthin, the leftover fat and grease in food waste is in trash. I use engineered bacteria to transform this grease into biofuel and also bioplastic precursor for eco-friendly packaging. The leftover protein-rich part can be used as ingredient in our pet food. By transforming this food waste, we are tackling environmental pollution, reducing dependency on the fossil fuel all at the same time by creating a diverse range of eco-friendly products. With this, I aim to create a cleaner, greener, and more sustainable world. And that's the future I'm working towards, a future where everything has value and nothing goes to waste. And that future isn't distant. It is fermenting in our lab right now. So for me, food waste isn't just waste. It's a beginning of a whole new story. Thank you.
As an audience member, the 3MT is exciting not just because the presentations are so amazing, but it's also a fantastic way of learning more about the research that's being conducted at Kansas State University. Tonight, the presenters represent 4 colleges and 8 academic programs. On the slide, you can see that across the years, a variety of programs have been represented among the 3MT award winners. I think that's a terrific demonstration that K-State has talented graduate students all across the university, including Olathe. Our next presenter is a PhD student in grain science from India. When he's not in the lab, he likes to travel, hike, and explore new places, immersing himself in nature. Music is a big part of his life, and he always has a playlist ready to set the mood for the day. At home, he spends time pampering his cats. I got 4. Work on that. So, without a doubt, he believes that they run the household. Looking ahead, he envisions himself as an academic working at the intersection of science, technology, and policy to drive impactful food safety initiatives. Our next presenter is Shiva Prasad. Would you please welcome him?
Mic check? Yeah. Baking is a fun holiday hobby for people of all ages. With the appeal of sweet aroma, it is easy to be enticed to sneak a bite before the cookies have been baked. However, consumption of this raw, unbaked cookie dough as a snack or as an ice cream comes with a potential food safety risk, one that is not very well known. Most of us in here assume that egg is the only risky ingredient in the manufacturing of our cookie dough. Surprisingly, there's another culprit which is often ignored, which is our wheat flour. Yes, the very ingredient that actually makes up our beloved cookie dough could pose a significant food safety threat, and it has the capability of causing foodborne illness. Foodborne illness have long been a topic of concern in both developed as well as developing countries. In the United States alone, foodborne illness is linked to the death of at least 3,000 people every year. With that being said, we have products such as like wheat grains as well as wheat flour, which are generally recognized as low-risk foods because of their low moisture content. However, in the past decade, we have had multiple recalls, illnesses, and outbreaks that are specifically linked to wheat flour because of its contamination with enteric pathogens like E. coli as well as Salmonella. Just last year, over 50 metric tons of wheat flour was recalled in just the United States because of potential Salmonella risk. The trend till today remains the same, with multiple recalls occurring on a day-to-day basis. So where does this contamination actually occur? In an ideal industrial setting, wheat grains are milled into wheat flour without any kill step. So the pathogens that might be present on the wheat grains gets redistributed into milled fractions, thereby contaminating the final product. My research majorly focuses on developing antimicrobial intervention strategies to combat these pathogens effectively and efficiently. One way we can achieve this is by adding antimicrobial agent to the tempering water. Tempering is a hydration process where wheat grains are conditioned briefly for a period of 18 to 24 hours prior to be subjected for milling. Traditionally, it is done by adding just water, which can be replaced by antimicrobial agents like lactic as well as citric acid. The preliminary result of my research is promising, showing a staggering 99.9% inhibition in the total Salmonella load without affecting the overall functionality or the quality of our beloved cookie dough. With this, it can be concluded that antimicrobial tempering is our knight with shining armor, ensuring that our cookie dough and indeed all flour-based products are not only delicious but also safe for consumption. Thank you so much for sharing this moment with me. Together, we are all on a journey for a happier and safe baking practice. Thanks again.
We are just over halfway through the process here, ladies and gentlemen. As a reminder, for one graduate student, their 3MT journey does not end tonight. The winner of K-State's competition will advance to a regional competition hosted by the Midwestern Association of Graduate Schools, also known as MAGS. K-State has had at least 4 graduate students make it to the final round of the MAGS 3MT competition, and one of those students was the winner of the MAGS 3MT competition in 2019, Dr. Chris Omni. Another was selected for the People's Choice Award, Medarine Iftikhar, in 2022. Very proud of their work. Our next presenter is all the way here from Westmoreland, Kansas. He's a passionate basketball enthusiast who loves nothing more than hooping it up at the rec. And beyond the court, he's an avid gardener, cook, and disc golfer. His love for the outdoors extends to camping and hiking, where he enjoys exploring nature and making memories. More than anything, he cherishes living life to the fullest with his wife, Miranda. Aww. With a deep passion for learning and teaching, his ultimate goal after grad school is to become a professor. Would you please welcome Jacob Miller Klugessers.
Thank you, sir. Mashing mud pies, hoeing rows, eating dirt, and all we grew in it. My childhood was shaped by soil serenades. Now, like then, I dig without gloves, because soil contains Mycobacterium vaccae microbes that affect the brain similarly to antidepressants. Depressing, according to Thaler et al., is that 1/3 of A-horizon soil in the US Corn Belt has been lost. More of a non-renewable resource than oil. We lose our soil, we lose our way. Our very own Dr. Rice co-authored a report finding that cover crops are a key remedy, helping to prevent erosion, suppress weeds, retain moisture, build organic matter, and sequester carbon. And yet, in 2022, only 5.8% of US corn and soybean cropland acres had covers. So, given my research's purpose to aid increased adoption rates, what are the social, political, and financial barriers and opportunities for farmers who want to plant more covers in Pottawatomie County and the US corn-soy belt? First, in Pot County, where I've lived 2/3 of my life, cover rates have increased since 2005, yet remain in the single digits. In interviewing 22 farmers, they emphasized that covers supplement forage, complement no-till, and that minimum $50 per acre direct government payments would be necessary to cover costs and incentivize wider adoption. Other ongoing challenges include timely germination, suppression, and termination, as well as slight initial yield drag. Second, I compiled and analyzed a 20-year data set with 315 variables for 860 counties spanning 18 states, bounded by NOAA's designated corn-soy belt region. A series of machine learning classification and regression decision tree models and path models revealed that farmers operating more than 272 acres were 23% less likely to plant covers. When more than 2/3 of a county's farmers received government payments, they were 31% less likely to plant covers, and herbicide rates spiked as cover rates increased. These findings warrant implications questioning the efficacy of the spray for spade trade-off, as well as cover affordability and scalability. Even with the 2021 pandemic cover crop program, which reduced insurance premiums by $5 per acre with covers, the incentives remain paltry compared to conventional commodity subsidies. To remedy, the program's extension and augmentation are first steps. My son plays in the soil, just as Dad does. Mashing, eating, tractor. I'm a great parent. If only he and all knew all that green cover could do. An oath to extol. Heal soil, heal soul. From dust to dust, heal I, you, us.
I do hope that upon the conclusion of the events tonight that you do get a chance to thank all of the presenters and congratulate them on their efforts. I will give you a word of warning. Mr. Klugashers has a killer handshake. That's a good old Kansas farm boy right there. Thank you to our first round judges, volunteers, coordination of K-State's 3MT was led by the graduate school. And they would like to acknowledge others who have made important contributions to make the event possible. A big thanks goes out to K-State faculty, staff, and community members who assisted with practice sessions and have served as judges in the first round of competition. If any of these individuals are present, would you please stand so that we could recognize you? Thank you all for coming. Our next presenter is a master's student in entomology from the state of Maryland. He has quite the journey. A Marine Corps veteran and former EMT, he earned his degree in biological sciences from North Carolina State University. His passion for field research led him to work on a sea turtle project in Antigua and with Connecticut's Inland Fisheries Division. But it was during this time at the USDA's Plum Island Animal Disease Center that his interest in entomology truly took off. Now his research focuses on arthropods like ticks and mosquitoes that transmit diseases. Outside of research, he enjoys reading, exploring local restaurants and breweries with his wife and son. But the son really likes the brewery part. And he's trying to make an honest attempt at playing the guitar. Would you please welcome our next presenter, Joshua Jackson.
Check. Tick-borne diseases pose a significant threat to human and animal health here in Kansas and indeed around the world. I know from personal experience. As a kid, I was playing in the woods when I was bit by a tick infected with the Borrelia pathogen, which causes Lyme disease. I didn't realize anything was wrong until weeks later when my joints started swelling and I developed a fever. Quick trip to the hospital to drain the fluid from my knees, antibiotics, 6 months of doctor's visits later, I was able to clear the infection. But still, the experience was extremely unpleasant. That was over 20 years ago, and to this day, one of our best defenses against Lyme and other tick-borne diseases is to find where the infected ticks are so we can reduce our chances of coming into contact with them. We do this through a process called surveillance. Tick-borne disease surveillance involves collecting ticks from the environment and then molecularly testing them to determine what percentage are carrying dangerous pathogens. It's an accurate but expensive and time-consuming process, and overwhelmed diagnostic labs can sometimes take months to produce results. But what if we could streamline and speed up that process by quickly identifying if a tick's infected simply by scanning it? Previous work in other labs has shown that infrared spectroscopy, which involves shooting an infrared laser at a specimen and reading the pattern of light that gets reflected back, coupled with advances in artificial intelligence and machine learning, can diagnostically identify certain pathogen infections, such as Zika and malaria, in mosquitoes. The idea behind the technology is this. Biochemical bonds within an organism will reflect infrared light back at certain wavelengths. An infection in that organism can cause some chemical changes that will shift the way that light gets reflected, which we can then analyze with AI. We're hoping to be the first to adapt this technique to work in ticks. To do that, I will use an infrared spectrometer to scan healthy, uninfected, colony-grown ticks as controls, and then use a trained AI classification algorithm to compare those scans with the scans of ticks infected with various pathogens, viruses, bacteria, parasites, and the like, to see if we can differentiate between the infected and the uninfected individuals. Ultimately, the goal is to improve surveillance. By rapidly identifying a tick's infection status, we can reduce overall costs and increase the types of surveillance that can be done to keep our communities safe. With incidents of Lyme and other tick-borne diseases on the rise, it is our hope that this technology can help prevent others from going through what I went through all those years ago. Thank you.
I can't wait till an individual bitten by a tick becomes one of Marvel's next superhero Avengers. That'd be a nice thing. Instead of superpowers, they become scientists. Good job, Joshua. Thank you. If you're enjoying these presentations tonight, I have some good news for you. There are 2 more opportunities to learn about graduate student research this year. You can join the graduate school on March 11th and 12th for the K-State Grad Forum, where graduate students will give talks and poster presentations of their work. And there are also opportunities to serve as judges. It's a very fulfilling job. Not necessarily financially rewarding, but hey, you get bonus points. On March 25th, 10 K-State graduate students will present posters of their research to state legislators at the Capitol building for the annual Capitol Graduate Research Summit. The event is open to the public, so if you'll be in Topeka that day, stop by to support the K-State graduate students and also learn about research that's being conducted by grad students at other Regents universities. Our next presenter is a master's student in agronomy, originally from India. She speaks 4 languages and has a deep love for cooking, but even more for eating. Always eager to try foods from different cultures and experiment with new recipes, she insists that nothing compares to the flavors of home. And if you think you know spicy food, she has one thing to say: come to India. You'll understand real spice. More than anything, she enjoys connecting with people and sharing stories. Would you please welcome Moazama Mushtaq.
Sorry. Okay. Did you know that our soil holds more carbon than atmosphere and all the terrestrial vegetation combined? Isn't that amazing? But here's the problem. As the human population grows, more and more native forest and grassland are being converted into agricultural land to feed us. This shift disrupts the soil, leading to loss of stored carbon that is in soil back into the atmosphere as carbon dioxide. This situation gets worse by the widespread use of nitrogen fertilizer that we use to increase the agricultural productivity. Though it increases the productivity, but the excess nitrogen that is left in the soil can be leached into the groundwater or released back into the atmosphere as nitrous oxide. Both carbon dioxide and nitrous oxide are potent greenhouse gases. That means they have the potential to trap heat inside the Earth's surface, thereby contributing to climate change. So now the big question here is that, can we farm smarter to store more carbon and nitrogen in soil? To answer that question, we conducted a 31-year-long experiment to study how different management practices such as conventional tillage, in which we plow the soil and then do the planting, no tillage, in which we do planting without disturbing the soil, along with the use of organic and mineral fertilizer, impact carbon and nitrogen storage in soil. Our aim was to identify sustainable farming techniques, improve soil health, and promote climate resilience. And I have some great news to share. Our results reveal that the adoption of no tillage combined with organic fertilizer leads to the highest storage of carbon and nitrogen in the topsoil, and that is followed up by tillage combined with organic fertilizer. We did not see any difference in any other treatment that we were testing. But interestingly, over time, as the 0 to 5 centimeter layer reached saturation, the carbon and nitrogen started moving to the deeper soil profile. First from 0 to 5 centimeter to 5 to 15 centimeter, and now it has started moving into 15 to 30 centimeter depth. This is a breakthrough because it challenges the older belief that once the top layer is filled, it can hold no more carbon and nitrogen. But in reality, if you manage the soil well, once the top layer is filled, the bottom layer acts as a reserve, providing even more storage potential. These findings are significant. Adoption of no tillage combined with organic fertilizer provide a practical solution for us to store more carbon and nitrogen in soil, improve soil health, reduce greenhouse gas emission, all while promoting food production. So the next time you think about soil, remember, it's not just dirt. It's a powerful ally in our fight against climate change and rising food prices. And the way we manage it today is going to shape our planet's future. So let's manage it well.
Over the last couple of years, we've seen a growing interest in 3MT. Not only has the number of grad students participating in 3MT increased, but we're also seeing a growing interest in supporting the 3MT and other graduate school initiatives. An example is the partnership between the graduate school and K-State's chapter of Sigma Xi. Last year, Sigma Xi provided sponsorship for the 3MT Awards. This year, Sigma Xi will sponsor a free one-year membership to each of our 11 finalists tonight. And I'd like to welcome one of our judges tonight who is representing Sigma Xi. Please welcome Jack Sitzma.
Hi, everyone. Yes, on top of being a judge at our competition, I'm also the representative for K-State's chapter of Sigma Xi. And in brief, I could talk a lot about why I like Sigma Xi, but I like to highlight three major things. One, it's a great way to network with scientists, because what Sigma Xi is a way to collaborate for the integrity of research. So you see, we have a couple things highlighted on the slide. Unlike our presenters, I can use words on my slide as prompts for us. But really the big thing is that you can advance your research, you can network with other scientists, as well as we have our national conference, which is a great way to interact with people outside of your region and outside of your research to really get a good collaborative environment. But on top of this, you see the bottom right is our research grant opportunities. So on top of being a great way to network, we also have very competitive research grants of up to $5,000. So if you're interested, check out that QR code. And then the one on the left also is just Sigma Xi in general, but I'll also hang out for a while after the competition today and answer any questions y'all might have. We'd love to see y'all join on top of our presenters. Thank you.
In case you were wondering, Sigma Xi is loosely interpreted as speed speaking. Good work, Jack. Thank you. Our next presenter is originally from Shawnee, Kansas. She is a PhD student in kinesiology. When she's not busy with her lab rats, she loves spending time with her adorable guinea pig, Elton. Ashley enjoys the outdoors and never misses a chance to play board games with her friends. This year, she's focused on improving her public speaking skills and setting realistic goals to push herself further. What a better way to do that than here at 3MT. Would you please welcome Ashley Baranchuk.
Test? Again. Okay. Every time we exercise or are physically active, even if it's as simple as walking up the stairs or doing chores around the house, our body has to make physiological adjustments. One of those adjustments is an increase in blood pressure. This increase in blood pressure helps to promote an increase in blood flow to working skeletal muscle. In a healthy individual, a small to moderate increase in blood pressure is beneficial and helps us complete daily tasks of living. However, and when a cardiovascular disease patient exercises, their increase in blood pressure is much larger. This exaggerated blood pressure response to activity puts them at risk for adverse cardiovascular events such as heart attack or stroke. Currently, glucagon-like peptide-1 receptor agonists, or GLP-1s, such as Ozempic, are largely prescribed for diabetes and weight loss. However, this class of drugs have also been shown to benefit cardiovascular health due to their anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. This led us to hypothesize that GLP-1s may be used to benefit cardiovascular disease and blood pressure control and exercise in a rat model of cardiovascular disease. To do this, we surgically induced peripheral artery disease, or PAD, in a group of rats. PAD is a common form of cardiovascular disease. We also teach these rats to then run on a treadmill so that we can measure their blood pressure response to exercise. Our lab has previously demonstrated that this rat model of PAD produces that exaggerated blood pressure response to activity, just like that seen in PAD patients. On experiment day, our PAD rats complete a control bout of treadmill exercise and then receive a single dose of a GLP-1. Then a second exercise bout is performed, and we can compare that blood pressure response from the control and post-GLP-1 bout in order to determine if there were any effects of the GLP-1 on blood pressure. Incredibly, that single dose of a GLP-1 was actually able to decrease that blood pressure response in our PAD rats. If GLP-1 administration could improve blood pressure control in a cardiovascular disease patient, this could reduce their risk for stroke or heart attack. This class of drugs has already been approved for use in humans, so we are very hopeful that these results may translate and benefit this population of patients in the near future. By allowing these patients to more safely complete daily tasks of living, such as walking up the stairs or doing chores, we hope to both extend and improve their overall quality of life. Thank you.
Well, that was fun. I just learned more about GLP-1s than what my doctor told me. That was good. I was always wondering what that stuff I was shooting into my leg every week was going to do to me, but it's doing well. Ashley, thank you. Very good. As another example of the growing interest in supporting 3MT and graduate student excellence, I mentioned earlier that there is a new award this year. K-State Center for the Advancement of Entrepreneurship is sponsoring a $500 award for the presentation of research with the best commercial potential. So please help me welcome Dr. Rachel Mui to share a little bit about what the Center for the Advancement of Entrepreneurship has to offer for graduate students.
So I didn't even think twice about being nervous coming up here until I realized it was a night full of competitive speeches, right? So I apologize in advance. My speech is nowhere near as well detailed as you all. You guys have been doing a fantastic job. So thank you to the graduate school for allowing us to come present what we are doing. So my name is Dr. Rachel Mui. I am here on behalf of the Center for the Advancement of Entrepreneurship. And although we are housed in the College of Business, our main mission is to make sure that we support all of our students here at K-State and those in our community to explore their entrepreneurial potential. We always say you can't just be an entrepreneur, you have to be an entrepreneur in something, which is why we love to stick our little noses in events like these, because your research, my goodness, some of the things that you are doing, you have no idea the impact it can actually have beyond just adding knowledge to your field, right? So for those of you who are going into academia, you may or may not have already been fed the mantra to publish or perish. And I hate to burst your ego, but the reality is the average readership for peer-reviewed journals are what, 10 people? I think in my field it's actually 7.5, and I'm guessing half of those are your committee members, if they are good committee members and actually read your work, right? But I truly do believe that your work has the ability to impact more than just 7.5 people if you are able to take that knowledge to create new and innovative products and services that can help improve our society. So that's where we come in. We have just launched a new series of graduate level courses designed for non-business students who would like to explore what that would look like. So in the fall, we are now offering a new entrepreneurship course on what it means to activate an entrepreneurial mindset in your own disciplines. And in the spring, we have just launched a commercialization class so you can learn how to commercialize university research. So shout out to my students who are here tonight. We got free food, and you guys don't have to listen to me talk, except for now, just for a little bit. And we are also offering scholarships for you guys to start exploring these classes starting next semester. So, you know, I hope that if you are interested, please take a snapshot of the QR code. I hope I'll reach out to you in the future if that's all right with you. But ideally, the skills that you learn here, regardless if you go into industry or stay in academia, you'll not only learn how to produce better products and services for industry, you'll also learn how to conduct better research, right, if you stay in academia. And if we want to be really pragmatic, then I'm hoping that the skills you learn will at least help you secure better paying jobs in industry and help you secure better funding in the future. So I guess you can say that's my little 3-minute thesis spiel for our new graduate class. So I hope you check it out, and I'll be here if you guys have any questions, all right? You guys are doing fantastic tonight. So round of applause for you guys.
You didn't have the 3-minute timer on you. I wasn't paying any attention till you mentioned it. Our final presenter is a master's student in horticulture and natural resources with a focus on urban food systems for our second presenter in the Olathe campus. Originally from Nepal, one of his favorite hobbies is playing soccer, and he loves exploring different cuisines from around the world. He has a unique passion for collecting currencies. He currently has 23 different currencies and hopes to keep adding to his collection. Coming from a country famous for its mountains, one of his lifelong dreams is to climb one himself, an adventure that he looks forward to experiencing someday. Would you please welcome Sagar Pokhrel.
Mic test? Okay. The most dangerous enemy is the enemy you cannot see. Can you guess what I am referring to? The enemy here is pathogen. Pathogens that contaminate the food we eat. Last year in the United States, 450 people got sick after eating salmonella contaminated cucumbers. And this was not a one-off case. Almost 3,000 people die every year in the United States from similar foodborne outbreaks. And one of the root cause in all of this are farms. Farms where food safety practices weren't followed. But why weren't they followed? In the US, much of our agricultural workforce is made up of immigrant farm workers who put food on our table. Most of them, however, struggle to follow food safety practices. After interviewing immigrant growers from Kansas, Missouri, and Iowa, we were able to identify different food safety topics that these growers did not understand. And we also realized another problem. के तपाईहरुलाई थाहा छ फलफुलमा कीटाणु हुन सक्छ? Did anyone here understand that? No. Why not? Because I was talking in a language that you don't understand. And that's exactly what we are doing with these growers. We're giving them educational resources in English, a language which most of them do not understand. And these educational resources also fail to address their unique cultural and farming context. And this creates a gap in education, which exposes us all to the risk of foodborne outbreaks. So how can we address this? These growers need simple educational tools that show food safety issues in their practices and offer practical solutions. And in doing so, visuals are the key, because visuals don't just tell, they show. Images can easily demonstrate how some farm activities, if not done properly, can lead to contamination on farm and how small changes can help to prevent it. To make our resources more impactful, we're developing them as posters where we pair these visuals with short food safety messages, the messages that will be translated into the native languages spoken by these growers. In our posters, we've used relatable characters, familiar work settings, and showed practical tools that these growers can use on their farms to ensure that our messages are actionable. By using such posters that everyone can understand, we expect our growers to understand these food safety issues and adopt safer practices in their farms, because a safer farm means a safer food for all of us. Thank you.
How about a collective round of applause for all of our presenters this evening? Now comes the tough part for these 6 people right here. They are casting their ballots and comparing notes and putting all that together. And this is also the time for the People's Choice winner. Voting is limited to those present in this room, to our online people. Thanks for joining us. Sit this part out. Each person may vote only once. You can use the QR code that is on the screen right over here. Cast your vote on a mobile device. If you don't have a mobile device or prefer a low-tech format known as paper, we have event coordinators that will be happy to hand you a paper ballot. So we're going to take a little bit of a break for the coordinators to tally the judges' scores. And I might add that we still have food over there. Every student just went, oh. We have food over there, and if there's only one M&M cookie left, I call dibs. We'll be back with you in just a few moments. Thank you. We will have the results for you in 1 minute. So, 3MT fans, are you ready? The scores and votes have been counted, and it's the moment we've been waiting for. All the presenters, thank you for doing your work tonight and doing an outstanding job. And we certainly hope that you all feel very proud of the work that you have done tonight, and also proud of being selected as finalists for this year's competition. Before we recognize presenters and announce our award winners, let's thank our judges one more time. Toughest job around is to be a judge at something like this. Can you imagine? We are going to start by presenting the Best Commercial Potential Award, the People's Choice Award, and then our second place award. I'd like to invite Dean Petrescu up and Dr. Miller to the stage, as well as Dr. Mui, if you would come and join us to present the award for Best Commercial Potential. And presenters, if your name is come up on this side of the stage, okay? That would be stage left to your right, because there are no steps over there. We learned something, didn't we? So anyway, Dean Petrescu is standing there. She will be giving you your certificate after our first three winners' announcements. The award for Best Commercial Potential and a $500 scholarship. Joshua Jackson. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. It's so nice to have you up here for 17 seconds. The winner of the People's Choice Award and a $125 scholarship, Shabangi Arveli. Second place receives a $250 scholarship. Ashley Baranchuk. So now we're going to keep you in suspense just a little bit longer because we like captive audiences at Kansas State University. And we're going to do this before we announce this year's 3MT champion. All the students did an amazing job tonight, and we want to recognize all of them. So I'm going to call each of you up here, and we are going to give you a certificate to recognize your accomplishment of being a 3MT finalist here tonight. And after all our presenters are on stage, we will announce this year's 3MT winners. So, would you please welcome Sabrina Paray, Sydney Weber, Vikas Kumar Galipathu, Justin Montney, Shamangi Arveli. You don't have to walk so far. Shiva Prasad. Jacob Miller Klugesers. Joshua Jackson. Muazzama Mushtaq. Ashley Baranchuk. And Sagar Pokrail. Now let them look at you while you applaud all of them for their work tonight. So now the moment we have all been waiting for. The winner of Kansas State University's 2025 3MT, recipient of a $500 scholarship. And representing Kansas State University at the regional 3MT competition, our winner, Shiva Prasad Prakash. I think you can make more applause for that than what you just did. Again, thanks to all of our participants. You all really made K-State proud for the work that you have done and that you presented here tonight. And we want to continue to wish you the best for your futures. They are very, very bright and promising. So, well done. Thank you to our judges. And we also have staff here, Dr. Miller, Dean Petrescu. We got a lot of staff that are running around that helped out with everything. Thank you all for doing that. You can give them a round of applause. And for all our participants and winners and judges, if you would just kind of hang out here because we like to take pictures of all of you here tonight. Many of you will want to, what's that? Oh, yes, by the way, when you go back to your tables, there's a little purple bag for you to take home. It's a special parting gift to say thank you for sharing your talents with us. Because every presenter should get a parting token of appreciation, don't you think? It's been an honor to be a part of this for the 10th year. Thank you all for joining us. For those of you that are online, thank you all for joining us here tonight. And come next year. That way you can vote. That's a good deal. I'm Dave Lewis. Good night, everybody. Go Cats.